All right, so Meta just dropped something pretty huge in the AI world. It's a new system called DeepConf, and the promise here is, well, it's a big one. It's about letting AI solve really tough problems, but without that massive cost and the huge energy drain we've come to expect. So let's get into it.
And this really gets to the heart of the matter, right? Can an AI actually learn to think smarter, not just harder? Because up until now, the default solution for making AI smarter has pretty much been to just throw more power at it, more computers, more energy. But what if there's a better, more elegant way? Well, Meta definitely seems to think so.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll tackle the big problem, why AI thinking is so darn expensive right now. Then we'll dive into the secret sauce, this confidence score solution. After that, the results, which are, wow. We'll talk about why this actually matters to you, and of course, we'll finish up with the catch and what the future might hold.
All right, so first things first, to really get why DeepConf is such a game changer, you've got to understand the problem it's designed to fix. And trust me, it's a big one.
You see, when we talk about how advanced AI reasons today, a lot of them use this method called self-consistency. The best way to picture it, it's like a giant chaotic brainstorming session. For just one problem, the AI will generate dozens, sometimes hundreds of different possible ways to solve it. And then, what does it do? It basically just takes a vote. Whichever answer pops up the most frequently wins. And look, this whole voting thing, it does work. It makes the AI more accurate. But the downsides, they are huge. Can you imagine how inefficient that is? Generating all those different paths costs an absolute fortune in computing power. It's slow, and the amount of energy it burns through is just staggering.
Yeah, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the absurdity here. It's brute force, plain and simple. It's not about genuine intelligence. You're not getting one expert's thoughtful answer. You're just polling a huge crowd and hoping for the best. And yeah, it works, kind of. But man, it feels so clunky and wasteful. You just have to think, there's got to be a better way.
And that brings us right to the solution. This is exactly what researchers from Meta and UCSD have come up with. It's called DeepConf, and it's a much smarter way of doing things.
So instead of just blindly churning out answer after answer, DeepConf gives the AI something new, a little bit of self-awareness. It teaches the model to take a step back and actually evaluate its own work. It assigns a confidence score to its own reasoning. Think of it like giving the AI its own internal editor, a little voice that says, hey, you're on the right track here, or nope, this is a dead end, stop wasting your time.
So how does this confidence score actually work? It's pretty cool, actually. DeepConf looks at 4 key things. First, it checks how sure it is about every single word or token it's writing. Then it zooms out a bit and asks, do these chunks of reasoning actually make sense together? Third, it gets really focused on the end of the solution, because that's where mistakes love to hide. And finally, and this is my favorite part, it pinpoints the absolute weakest link in its own logic. It finds its own uh-oh moment. And they can use this confidence score in 2 really clever modes. First, there's offline mode. The AI generates a bunch of answers like it normally would, but then DeepConf comes in and acts like a bouncer, throwing out all the low-confidence, shaky ideas before the final vote. But online mode, that's where things get really smart. It catches a bad idea as it's happening. In real time, it can tell the AI, hey, stop, this path is garbage. Cut your losses and move on. No wasted energy. Okay, so that's the theory. A smarter, more self-aware AI. But does it actually, work? Well, let me tell you, the results are, frankly, they're kind of mind-blowing. So they put this thing to the test on a ridiculously hard math competition benchmark. We're talking problems designed to stump very smart humans. An AI using DeepConf scored, get this, 99.9% accuracy. That's basically perfect on problems that are designed to be brutally difficult. And here is the absolute kicker. It got that near-perfect score while being insanely more efficient. We're talking about using up to 84% fewer tokens in some cases. I mean, just look at this chart. That is a massive drop in the amount of work the AI has to do. It's the literal definition of working smarter, not harder. So what does it all boil down to? Well, it's a triple win. You get your answers faster, the computing becomes way, way cheaper, and because you're not burning all that electricity, it's a much greener, more sustainable way to build AI. Okay, so this is all super impressive tech-wise, but let's bring it back down to earth. What does this actually mean for us, for the real world? Why should you care about this? Well, because this kind of efficient, super accurate reasoning is the engine that's going to power the next wave of AI tools. I mean, think about it. Imagine a coding assistant that doesn't just autocomplete for you, but can actually reason through a complex bug and explain it. Or what about a personalized tutor for your kid that can truly understand and break down a tough physics problem? Or even tools that help scientists fast track their research by logically sifting through mountains of data. At the end of the day, when you make powerful AI cheaper and faster, you make it more accessible to everyone. You can scale it up to help more people, and you can start to trust it to tackle some of our really tough, critical problems in everything from medicine to engineering.
But all right, let's pump the brakes a little. No technology is a silver bullet, right? So we need to talk about the catch. We've got to understand the limitations and what's next for something like DeepConf.
First off, you gotta know that DeepConf is a specialist. It's an absolute rock star with logical, structured problems. Think math, think coding. But when you get into more creative, subjective stuff like writing a story or designing art, this whole confidence score thing might not be so helpful. It could even end up filtering out the weird original ideas that lead to a breakthrough. And another really important point, DeepConf isn't the brain. It's more like a supercharger for the brain. It's an add-on that makes a powerful AI model even better. So its success really depends on the power of the base model it's plugged into. You can put the best filter in the world on a bad engine. It's still a bad engine. But even with those things in mind, what's been accomplished here is it's huge. What Meta has really done is show us a whole new way forward. The big takeaway is this: we can actually train AI to think smarter, not harder. We can teach our machines to have a sense of their own reasoning, not just to crunch numbers. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As we build these incredible specialist tools like DeepConfs that are masters of logic and accuracy, does that mean we're heading for a future where creativity and accuracy live in totally separate AI systems? Or is there a way to one day have an AI that can master both? Does it always have to be a choice?